What's up, guys?
So Flow Wrestling went and made actually an amazing video collabing with Bo Bassett and Melvin Miller. Now, Melvin is actually on the U17 team for America, while Bo, of course, is on U20s. Now, they're in Pennsylvania, and one thing they're kind of known for is doing these 5 a.m. workouts. Now, Bo has said that he's been doing this basically, I believe it's 5 or 6 years on a consistent basis, waking up at 5 a.m. and doing these types of workouts. And I think it's super really interesting to see kind of what they do. So it's cool kind of having this inside look. And in this video, I'm going to be kind of showing you guys kind of what you guys probably missed if you saw it. And also if you guys didn't see it, I'll leave it linked in the description below. But there's a couple key things I did want to touch on that maybe you guys have missed, and definitely some things to think about that will definitely help you guys out. With that being said, let's hop into the video.
Right here, just like this. Boom. You gotta edit, flip it to where it's straight.
Now, if you're following Bo on Instagram, you probably see on his stories, like basically kind of like every morning he does this. He takes a picture of the time to hold himself accountable. And of course, just letting others know that, hey, he's up and he's working and he's going to be the guy. So I think that's super, super cool about not only just keeping yourself accountable too, but kind of making that public display of like, you know, like these people kind of count on me to wake up at this time and, you know, of course, to work hard to accomplish your goals.
Boom. Let's go.
Good. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
So my dad is in El Salvador with my brother wrestling at the 5am's. Cayden won gold yesterday in Greco. And then it was funny, he actually retired his shoes in the middle of the match.
I saw that, dude.
Greco.
That was cracking me up.
Yeah.
This is something I think is absolutely disgusting too, because Cayden, Bo's brother, he retired from Greco, right? But his combined Greco record that I saw him post on a story was 256-0. 256 wins and 0 losses in wrestling. I like you talk about legends. I mean, that's quite a legendary stat. Other than Cael Sanderson not losing in college, I mean, 256 matches, all-time Greco wrestling people internationally. And guess what? He's retiring because he's focusing on freestyle, because like that's just the weirdest thing about wrestling is, of course, you got the 3 styles, but there's no really top tier success right now, and you know, in the past, you know, probably decades of USA Greco wrestling basically, and you know, all, whether it's just the accomplishments, the money, and the future, you know, it's all in freestyle wrestling. So regardless, I think that stat is just absurd. So now this is them getting some training in, I'm sure, just like drilling, you know, 2 and 2 every other. I'm not necessarily sure how long that, I would assume they would probably go for half an hour, 45 minutes. Heck, I mean, if they do go an hour and a half, that is crazy. But one thing that we are going to see in here is that they really work on different positions that, of course, it's like, it's kind of like cliche, like work on different positions in wrestling, but you're going to see here like different positions where, heck, if you go there in a match, of course, it's maybe unorthodox, but if you end up there, these guys have already worked on it. So you're going to see here in the next, kind of right after this kind of flurry, I think, super cool with like kind of the Russian kind of Merkel position, but just a whole bunch of different stuff. I really wonder kind of what they're coming up with in these times. And, you know, after these drilling sessions, sparring sessions, I believe they did after here, they actually, we're going to do a bit of conditioning. They got a bike and the snap down machine. This is something that's in the Parkside room that I've been utilizing a lot, actually, which I absolutely love. It's called the Ski Erg. So it's just like a skiing machine, and they go for 8 minutes. So it's like 2 and 2, and then they switch. And this is a great way to upgrade your VO2 max. So that's basically just getting your heart rate to like basically its max, and then this is how to, you know, set your pace basically. So yeah, and then they hit the sauna.
What are the 3 most important things?
Consistency, you gotta love it, and I think just realizing the importance of it. So I'll start at the beginning. Consistency is huge. It's gonna be hard to stay consistent, but once it becomes part of you, once it becomes a habit, this is what you love to do. So you'll be down here all the time.
One thing I came across with talking to these top level athletes is really that their systems they have are put in place like perfectly. Like for instance, this is something that Bo loves because he's done this so much, but also it doesn't allow him to necessarily love waking up and grabbing his phone and scrolling TikTok for an hour. Like how many of you guys watching this video? It's just the systems put in place that allow him, you know, to really love it.
Doing your 5am's, and I think that it was hard at first. I've been doing this for like 6 years now. And when we first started, I would wrestle the college guys because they were the only ones kind of willing to come down.
Yeah, 6 years. Can you imagine too, like no one necessarily around you is doing what you're doing, no one in your age, you know, in your age bracket, but you're going to actually have college guys do it because those are the only guys like, you know, tough enough to kind of do this or kind of see that and have that vision. And that's one thing that I think, you know, I would say, you know, Bo's parents, you know, put that mindset and that vision in him to like tell him like how good he can be and where he sees that. So I think Bo has really good vision of himself from a very early on of where he can go.
But then as the years went on, all the guys started coming over. We started to see a lot of success, and I think that puts me into the second one is loving it. You gotta love it, right? You gotta know this is gonna help you. You gotta know that your opponents are sleeping, and maybe in our case, you're wrestling guys overseas, and maybe they're up working out. So you gotta kind of stay on that path, and then when they're sleeping during the day, you're working out. So it's all a mental game, but it gives me a lot of confidence, and I don't need much sleep really. I don't require too much to be able to function.
And this I think is so interesting too, because I didn't even know this, and some people are just kind of wired differently where they only need between like, let's say like 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, when others are like, dude, like if I don't get 10 hours sleep, like it's gonna be a horrific day, right? And I think that's one thing Bo really has that is just something that he's just basically I'd say kind of born with. I'm not sure if you can train to have less sleep, and of course maybe he's just kind of tougher in that sense, but it's interesting to know that too. It's like, hey, maybe he doesn't need too much sleep, so he actually has more time to of course get better at wrestling, increase conditioning, stamina, like basically every mindset. Heck, it could be anything, but if you have more time in the day, people always say everyone has the same 24 hours, but if you got a guy who doesn't need to sleep an extra 2 more hours, I mean, what can he accomplish during a year, in a decade? I mean, that's crazy.
Some days
that's a good. Yeah.
There's some days where I wake up, I'm fine, and other days I just have to push.
Hey, want to know how I got this $50,000 check for an accident I was involved in over 5 months ago?
Do it.
So we're gonna do our wheelbarrow workout, right? So we got our wheelbarrow, and we have 60-pound bags of sand, and we throw them in there. Is it 80 pounds? 80-pound bags of sand, and we throw 3 in there, so that's 240, whatever the wheelbarrow is, and then we walk around. Melvin does a lap, I do a lap, and yeah, that's kind of how we cool down. So
That's funny.
And if everything else in the morning wasn't enough, yeah, why not just do another wheelbarrow, around the subdivision?
my dad actually spray painted on the sidewalk, but I'm pretty sure it faded away through the winter. He'll probably spray
painted
paint
what?
again. He spray paints things like Super 32 and
Oh, really?
PIAAs, yeah, that type of stuff. So
You guys don't understand how crucial it is to have like a materialistic thing, basically like of your goal that you can read as you're doing this workouts, and it's like, yeah, like that's what I'm working for. So when you're out there burning the midnight oil, you're like thinking like, why am I out here? And then you look down and it's like, yeah, I want to win Super 32s. I want to win state. Whatever that is, that's definitely something that you guys can utilize too.
2's the record for
2
drops.
is the record for drops, yeah.
Okay.
It's tough towards the end.
What do you think about when you do this?
I mean, it's just all mental toughness. I don't really think about it.
The dogs are out, they'll be barking, but it's all right, we just smile and wave. It looks like the garbage truck is here, so that's a little bit of an obstacle we're gonna have to dodge, but
Really?
that might be the new record. Melvin, did you put it down? No. I can't lose to him, so looks like I'm not putting it down today.
I mean, we're competitive in everything. Here's our garbage man.
He's looking at us like we're crazy.
I could not imagine being the guy just doing his job, and then next thing you know, you look up, it's probably 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., and you look at these 2 kids like that just like worked out for the past couple hours. They're wheelbarrowing sandbags across the subdivision, and you're just sitting there like, and of course they're like kind of like in a cheerful mood too, and oh, man, that would be that's a sight to see.
Morning.
So that was a new record, Melvin?
He set the record. When it's time to put it on the line and perform, he always
I was
does.
at PIAAs. I saw it. You really did not want to lose to Melvin.
No, never. That's how you beat him.
After you did it, did you think Bo would be able to do it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's all competition. So when I did it, I knew he was going to.
Melvin always goes first on that stuff. Like, if something's never been done, he's normally the first to do it. And then maybe a couple guys will do it, but Melvin's always been like a trailblazer.
It's clear to see with the competitiveness, having people around you, like-minded individuals, and whatever like you're setting out to do is so crucial. Because Bo couldn't get a wrestling workout just scrapping around with someone if no one worked up or woke up at that time, and even was like, no, I don't want to do that, or they kind of had that lazy attitude, or maybe they didn't really figure out their goals. But he's in an environment where he is like perfectly placed to really like accomplish whatever he sets out to do. And in that house, I think you got 3 3 guys under the roof that are on different age group world teams, which I don't think has necessarily ever been done. And the hardest thing, the hardest thing he talked about is staying consistent with it, early on. And that's why it's the hardest thing ever to make it a habit from the start. That's why starting, it's the hardest thing. It's not even just like doing it every single day. You have to start because it's breaking the mold. They have made it a habit to get this work in so that they can accomplish their goals that they set forth. But overall, I think, great video. Good job to Flo. And again, if you guys want to see the full video, I'll leave it linked in the description below. If you guys did like this video,